Surprise traders, how we doing, guys? God bless each and every single one of you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday morning, Monday afternoon actually. I wanted to jump into IWM first, do something a little different, and then we're going to trickle into NIO stock. So make sure to stay the full length of the video. And if you're new, slap the subscribe button, like the video, and let's jump straight into it. So what I'm seeing on IWM is something actually very interesting. So I want to go over a very important lesson for you guys, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I'm just looking at lines on the chart, right? Crayon. So what I'm seeing here and what I identified last time that you made this previous bottom was this was textbook bullish divergence, right? Lower low on the stock, but a higher low on the RSI. Now, what this tells us is that the stock was in a bottoming formation, right? And from that, you can look to see a potential opportunity to accumulate shares. Now, what I'm seeing on the flip side of that, right, is something interesting. You're looking for bullish continuation, and this is a literal textbook three rising valleys, right? We had higher low, or higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. You're now looking for that third higher high, but if you break beneath this low here, currently sitting at 270, so let's say you flush beneath 270, this will be a very apparent head and shoulders. So there's a bullish and a bearish side of this, and I want you guys to take home whatever you do on this trade, whatever you theorize, whatever your theory is, right? I want you to take away that there is always a bullish and a bearish side of the trade, and there are invalidation points to go with it. So there's a potential that this becomes a very apparent shoulder, head, right shoulder. And if you come back up here and fill the gap currently sitting at 281.96 and then reject that and come all the way down, it's most likely that you're going to see an extended sell-off into this gap currently sitting at 253.48. So that's the worst case scenario. The absolute bee's knees though, would be if this is truthfully a three rising valleys, right? You have high, low, and then you're looking for a third high, whether that be a blow off top currently sitting at 300, which we theorize will be the case because that has always been the theory on this channel. We are infinitely bullish, right? We are infinitely bullish here on the Trap Trade channel, but you have the resistance from October, resistance from January, and then potentially, right, if you come up here in May, it would make a lot of sense for you to reject here and then come back down. But I wanted to give you guys a more drawn out thesis of why I think that this thing is going to find a low here and a bounce. The reason I believe that is you're creating inverted to this bullish divergence. You're creating hidden bullish divergence. And what does that mean, right? That means that the stock RSI is making a lower low as the stock very quietly makes a higher low. So we're going to get into the textbook definition of that Copilot search, right? Hidden bullish divergence occurs when the price forms a higher low while the RSI forms a lower low, signaling a key continuation of an uptrend. That kind of gives you the continuation of the bullish trend, meaning that you're likely to continue higher. The opposite of that, right? Bullish divergence would be RSI forms a lower low. This is ideally what you want to see from IWM if this is going to be a swing higher. So regardless of what happens, I would hope and I would expect for this thing to see a swing higher off of this uptrend and hopefully close the gap here at 282. Now, what it does there, traders, is going to really tell you what you're going to do in the next month of price action. So this next week, going into the 26th of May, is going to be one of the most important weeks in a long, long time, traders. So as we say that, we're going to segue into IWM on the weekly, and then we're going to get into NIO. On the weekly time frame, just taking a little peeky-weeky on the charts, you have a very clear potential retest of this previous all-time high of 271. So just like we were talking about, right? If you are able to hold 270, that's going to mean a lot for the bullish continuation and gives you an opportunity to kind of retest, signaling that the stock is ready to make another all-time high. that would be huge for AMC, GameStop, NIO, as this IWM index is really the bee's knees. This thing is what controls some inflows and outflows on the stock, is this is an index fund, right? So it holds all of the small cap stocks inside of it, kind of blended together. So it'll be very important to see what you do once you reach the 9-day EMA on the weekly, currently sitting at 271.67. The volume has been piss poor. It's been really, 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 really low. You've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks of downtrending volume, followed by a little blip, but still low, 8, 9, 10. 10 weeks of very, very lowering volume. So something's got to give, right? There's going to be a big swing in either upside trajectory or downside. So we're going to watch and see what that developed move is, but it's very fascinating to see this retest. So fingers crossed, hoping for bullish price action. And the setup is there, right? You look at the hidden bullish divergence. Hopefully that plays out and you see this thing swing back higher into 300, just like our thesis was already saying, right? That's what we were always thinking. But jumping in to the drum roll, NIO stock. If you guys have made it this far and you're new and you're NIO stockholders, make sure to slap the subscribe button. And let's jump straight into it. So on NIO stock, we've been looking at two patterns specifically, right? We've been looking at the inverted head and shoulders, shoulder left, head, right shoulder, and you're forming it beautifully. But beyond that, right, you have the opportunity to create a very picture perfect cup and handle here on the micro chart, and you're playing that out to a T, right? You see this very cumulative cup structure, reject at $7, and now you've continued to kind of flag this out. Now, if we go to the 4 hour, you can see that you've broken out of here and then kind of failed to hold. So falling back beneath, seeing a big slide, sentiment is down, but there is hope at the end of the tunnel, guys, and I hope you see it. There's a lot on this chart, so just take it back, right? Develop, and we're going to jump into it. On the chart, I have this vertical blue line here. And the reason that I have that vertical blue line here is that is the earnings date as of today, right? May 26th, Tuesday. So that is just showing you how much price action you're going to have until you get there. And there's a lot that can happen, right? There are three things that I think are likely. Either you find the bounce here, right? And you continue to move higher. I think that if IWM can find the hidden bullish divergence and find the bounce here, I think it's likely that you break this high of 658, right? And then you start to cruise higher into that very scary neckline that we'll get into one second. The other potential scenario is that you have this new kind of weird but there wedge that formed from this previous resistance, flipping as new support, as you saw a retest here, top, retest here, top, and then a potential sliding down into earnings. It would make a lot of sense if you bottom going into earnings, you get some smack dab amazing news as they move the earnings sooner, hopefully, right? And then you find your bottom and you shoot like a rocket out of this falling wedge. I think that is very, very possible as well. But just reflecting, because I like to personally, in my own trading methodology, reflect on what the previous earnings have meant to NIO stock, right? You've seen this earnings call volume shot into the stock. You saw a 15.38% day. You saw that rally continue. And for that cup structure to form, that's kind of what drove it. The previous one, you saw a very nasty slide down going into earnings, kind of comparative to here, but you're holding a little bit more structure here, and you are holding bullish above 560. And then this one, you saw a very nice run up into earnings consolidation, and then a very nice run up to follow it. So earnings have almost always been very, very volatile on NIO stock. So I expect nothing different here. Just like IWM, I expect volatility to come at play here. You are holding this very nice trend line that you've established since March 10th, 2026. Tapped it on March 27th, tapped it May 6th, and now you've tapped it again. So if you fail to hold this trend line, traders, it is likely, in my opinion, that you find a test of 580 and then 560. If you fail to hold 560, guys, I think the third scenario that we've talked about many, many times is likely to occur. And this is the one I do not want to see by any measures, because you've formed a very nice base here in this cup-like structure. But the other possibility here, just like IWM, and it's going to really dictate whether or not this investment plays out, is if this is a head and shoulders, right? You're going to see this thing continue to slide, lose 560, and then that profit target, theoretically, right, from 560 down takes you either to 464, which is literally perfectly with this gap fill, which is why it's so technically scary, because there is some technical confluence there. So 559 would be a scary, scary fall, but there is also hope, right, that you would fall into this trend line. Currently sitting at $5. I would see that as a win personally, because every single time you have smacked this trend line, you've seen a nice bounce, right? We're just going to take a little peeky weeky, take a zoom back, and you can see 48% bounce, 57, and if you count the full move, 137% bounce. This one was 61% bounce, right? So even if you come back to $5 flat, which is 88 cents away, it seems far, but it's not. I remain bullish on this play. And the more you zoom out, the more bullish it gets, because not only do you have a cup and handle, but you also have what we talked about just a second ago, right? This shoulder, head, shoulder. And so the mystery is, the reason I have this question mark here is, going into earnings, we expect volatility to occur, and we expect the price to hopefully go up. What is going to happen once you touch this absolutely nasty horizontal resistance, right? Are you finally going to flip your most important level of 771 to bullish? I think that's the biggest question, because if you reject this, it's likely that you come all the way back down. It's either 560 or 520. And of course, right, the best case scenario here is you blast through this with volume, because there's a huge air bubble here in the price. And let's pull up the VRVP as well, because I'm actually curious to see. VRVP is visible range volume profile. And what that does, traders, is that's going to tell you, get out of here, TradingView. That's going to tell you where the volume comes in, right? So zoom all the way out. This tells you where the volume pockets are. You can see, let's get rid of some of these hammers. You can see just as you start to get into $9, right? The volume really, really ramps up. You can see below or above $9, there's a huge pocket there, all the way to 11. Volume continues to ramp up. But what's important here is when you look at, I actually don't know if this is correct. Let's take a little look at a different VRVP. Come on. Nah, this one's glitched. That one's not right either. That's okay. What I'm trying to get at is, within these big moves here, traders, there are huge volume gaps and price gaps, right? You have a gap sitting currently at $10. So if you see this thing blast past 771, I expect volume, I expect strength, and I expect this thing to fly into $9. What you do once you get to $9, hopefully you trade back down, retest it as support, close above it on the monthly, and rocket ship into the gap fill at $10 and then also to $16. I think that's likely. I really, really do, because of the bullish setup structure of this inverted head and shoulders. Right, that profit target takes you up to $18, and the cup and handle, theoretically, right, if $7 is the neckline, the break of that takes you up to that $9 price target. So all in all to say, I believe by the end of the summer, hopefully you're trading above $9. That would be my bet. If not, you've broken this structure and you're most likely heading lower. But on the weekly time frame, we'll take a little peek at that. You've fallen beneath the weekly RSI band. So that's actually not a good sign at all. That is a bearish thing to do, but there is still an opportunity. The week is not over for you to close above this and show a bounce. So that's what we're hoping for on the weekly time frame. On the monthly time frame, probably one of the more beautiful charts in the market, as you can see just how much this looks like a shoulder, head, right shoulder, as well as right the three white soldier formation here with the volume ramp up, the consolidation, 4 red candles, 4 months of just pain. But we called on this channel that the volume was coming down and that a rebound is likely. It's exactly what you got. And now you're seeing a retest of very important horizontal support that was also resistance in the past, right? This was your previous neckline. Your previous neckline on this inverted head and shoulders. Exact same setup you have now, right? So if you're looking for what has the stock previously done when you were inside of a inverted head and shoulders, this is all the textbook clue you need, right? Shoulder, head, right shoulder. This thing flew like crazy. So just looking at what you're at now, shoulder, head, right shoulder. Hopefully, right, you find some kind of bullish confirmation, news, whatever you need to fly. So that's all I got for the day, guys. If you made it this far, please subscribe, hit the like button, and share. As always, God bless you and your families. And remember, traders, the best is yet to come. Peace.